Welcome to All In from KNSU Television on the campus of Nicholls State University. I'm your host, Shamar Moses. A new major is coming to Nicholls State University. Nicholls received approval from the University of Louisiana System Board of Supervisors for a Bachelor of Science degree in Maritime Travel. The degree now goes to the Louisiana Board of Regents for full approval. According to a press release from Nicholls Communications Director Jared Davis, once the Board of Regents approves the degree, Nicholls can accept students into the degree program pending approval. Nicholls will be the primary host of the University of Louisiana's Maritime Academy. Classes in maritime travel are expected to begin in the fall of 2026. Nicholls Alumni Federation is partnering with Big Mike's Barbecue Smokehouse in Thibodaux for a watch party this Saturday when the Colonels take on Lamar. Kickoff is set for 3 p.m. Nicholls State Omega Kappa Qs are hosting their annual probate today at 7 p.m. in front of the Student Union. Let's take a look at news around the country.
A federal judge in the Middle District Court ruled a law requiring posters of the Ten Commandments in all classrooms is unconstitutional. The ruling comes with just under 2 months until public K-12 schools and colleges would have to put them in front of students by law. Under the ruling, State Superintendent Dr. Cade Brumley is now required to notify all public elementary, secondary, charter, and post-secondary education institutions of the ruling, which is one the ACLU of Louisiana takes as a win.
It's fundamental to our democracy that there's a separation between church and state. So ultimately, we see today's ruling as a success.
But Attorney General Liz Murrill says the judge's ruling only applies to a few school districts named in the lawsuit challenging the law.
This ruling does not apply to the entire state of Louisiana and every school board in Louisiana. The judge had jurisdiction over 5 school boards and Bessie is not legally in charge of all of the school boards.
But others support the judge's ruling. State Representative Mandy Landry believes the law violates students' religious freedoms.
Religion in the classrooms, that seemed like that was decided a long time ago. It's definitely promoting religion, period, and promoting Christianity. And not every kid, subscribes to those religions.
However, supporters of the law argue the commandments are not solely religious and have historical significance for students as well. The state plans to file an appeal on Wednesday.
We intend to seek a stay immediately and do everything that we can to ensure that this law is allowed to go into effect.
Opponents of the law hope the outcome will still stay the same.
Now we know it's going to go to the Fifth Circuit, and I don't have as much faith up there, but I think this is a good ruling. I think it was the right ruling.
And we hope that if and when an appeal happens, that the appellate level will do the same.
A bear caught on camera trashing luxury vehicles turns out to be a man in bear costume insurance scam.
Surveillance video released by California officials seemingly shows a bear wreaking havoc on the inside of a luxury SUV. But look closely, because that ain't no bear in there. The state's Department of Insurance says it's a person in a bear costume that staged not one, but a total of 4 of these grisly scenes to bilk multiple insurance companies out of more than $140,000. The costumed criminal scam was anything but smooth, though. The bear only targeted high-end vehicles like Rolls-Royce and Mercedes, and fraud experts quickly clued in on the sus surveillance.
Whoever's inside that vehicle is not moving like a bear. He's moving like a human.
Moreover, officials said the claw marks were suspiciously symmetrical. Also, the damage is, wait for it, barely there. Have you ever seen what a real bear trapped inside a vehicle leaves behind? Yeah. Between these clues and the shoddy, shaggy costume found in their possession, 4 people are now facing a slew of fraud charges. On to more vehicular mayhem, but this one was definitely real and at the bottom of a pool. Phoenix police had to act quickly when notified that a car drove into an apartment complex's swimming pool and the driver was still trapped inside. Responding officers quickly clambered onto the submerged vehicle, broke the sunroof window, and pulled the driver to safety. Finally, speaking of wild things in weird places, an Australian couple says they were shocked, scared, and pleasantly surprised when they came home and found a wild koala in their bedroom. The couple quickly shot video and posted to social media with the caption, "Only in Australia." Yeah, as far as strange bedfellows go, I'd say this koala-fies. Maybe the little guy just wanted some koality time? and so forth. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Now we will take a break. When we get back, Connor Gisclair will join our show to talk sports.
Every year, thousands of tons of litter are thrown from our cars onto the unsuspecting wildlife below. Polluting our wetlands and cluttering our forests. Please reconsider and don't litter. You're only killing our wildlife.
Do you love Nichols? Do you love football? Do you have a Colonel card? Then you can get in free to any Nichols home football game by showing your Colonel card at the gate. Come to the game, get in free, and cheer on your Colonels to victory. For more information about home football games, visit GoColonels.com.
Welcome back to All In. Last Friday, our men's basketball team fell to South Alabama 64-70. Last Saturday, Nichols volleyball team lost to SFA 1-3. Also on Saturday, our football team lost to Houston Christian University 21-24. On Wednesday, our women's basketball team beat Grambling 76-61. On Thursday, our men's basketball team will travel to Kentucky to play Northern Kentucky at 6 p.m. Also on Thursday, our women's volleyball team travels to Texas to play SFA at 6:30 p.m. On Friday, our men's basketball team will face their only Power 5 opponent this season when they head to Ohio to play Cincinnati at 6 p.m. This Saturday, our football team will play home at 1 p.m. versus Lamar, and our football team will head to Texas to play Lamar at 3 p.m. on Saturday. Let's take a look at the New Orleans Saints and Pelicans. Finally, score 3-0 Saints. Derek Carr passed to Marcus Valdes-Scantling for the 40-yard touchdown. Saints went up 10-0. Kirk Cousins completes a pass to Darnell Mooney for the 33-yard gain. Bijan Robinson in for the 1-yard touchdown. Score 10-7 Saints. Derek Carr passed to Marcus Valdes-Scantling for the 2-yard touchdown. Score 17-7 Saints. Blake Grupe then made a 26-yard field goal. Score 20-10 Saints. After that, Bijan Robinson hits the corner for the 37-yard touchdown, making the score 20-17 Saints. Kirk Cousins then fires the ball over the middle, but he was picked off by Tyrann Mathieu. Saints win this one 20-17.
The Pelicans are currently 3-9 after losing to OKC yesterday. Brandon Boston Jr. to Brandon Ingram for the three-pointer. Brandon Ingram pump fakes and drives for the layup. Score, New Orleans Pelicans 20-9. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander hits the step-back three-pointer. Gilgeous-Alexander with a nice drive and lefty layup. Score, Oklahoma City 30, Pelicans 28. Now in the second, Jalen Williams finds Carson Wallace for the alley-oop slam. Jalen Williams gets a steal off of Brandon Ingram and passes behind the back to Aaron Wiggins for the slam. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander hits the turnaround fadeaway jumper. Score, OKC 51, Pelicans 46. Now in the third, Jalen Williams gets the steal and fast break layup. Jalen Williams blocks Javonte Green at the rim. Green gets the rebound and is blocked again by Williams. Jalen Williams to Lou Dort for the three-pointer. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander knocks down the pull-up jumper on a 23-3 run by OKC. Score, Oklahoma City 80, Pelicans 62. Now in the fourth, Ajay Mitchell gets the steal and passes to Jalen Williams with a two-handed slam. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander blocks Brandon Ingram's dunk attempt. Thunder go the other way. Lou Dort passes to Gilgeous-Alexander for the layup. With the final score, Oklahoma City 106, Pelicans 88. Now, let's get back to the Saints. The win this past weekend comes after the firing of Saints head coach Dennis Allen, who won his first 2 games of the season and proceeded to lose 7 straight. Allen was fired immediately after the loss to the worst team in the NFL at the time, the Carolina Panthers. Special teams coordinator and assistant head coach Darren Rizzi was named as the interim head coach. The team is currently 1-0 with Rizzi at the helm with an overall record of 3-7. Shamar, do you think Rizzi can dig the Saints out of this hole, or is it too late?
I think it's a little bit too late. I think if you look at this team, they're 3-7. You fired Dennis Allen mid-season, but I think at the position they are in now, I mean, you should be trying to draft high. A top 10 draft pick will give you a franchise quarterback. I think bringing in Darren Rizzi, I mean, yeah, it's good for the culture of the city and the Saints and the team. However, I think this thing is kind of over with, and I think really and truly they should just tank the season and look and try to get the number 1 overall pick. And I think a guy like Darren Rizzi comes in with a lot of energy. Sources say that he interviewed for the head coaching job, but the Saints ultimately gave it to Dennis Allen. And I think since last season, the players always felt some type of way with Dennis Allen after he apologized to the Falcons when they ran the score up. So I think this is a problem that's been happening, but I think it's a little bit too late to kind of get the Saints out of this hole they're in. They're already 3-7. What are they going to win the rest of their games, which is very unlikely. And even if they do, they're just going to be playing for a wild card spot in the playoffs, which is very unlikely that they'll get. So.
I find watching the game, you saw Rizzi had a certain energy to him. I think with him, he had that certain energy behind him the whole game. I feel like the players really stood behind that. And I mean, they played well.
Yeah, they played well. I mean, that's great. But you bring in this coach now. You fired Dennis Allen. Not saying, I mean, and rightfully so. He definitely should have been fired. I mean, this guy was in over his head. I mean, you had injuries to your team, but everyone in the NFL has injuries. Darren Rizzi inherited the same roster you had the previous week. You got a few guys back, which wasn't anything monumental, and he came out and won. So that goes to show it's the leader. That was the problem with this team. But I think Mickey Loomis should be held accountable also. The talent, the lack of depth on this roster, and he's the one that really signed off on Dennis Allen being head coach in the first place. We look at Gail Benson, yeah, she's the owner, but sources already confirmed that Mickey Loomis makes all the calls, all the shots. So, I mean, moving forward, the Saints need to tear this thing down, get younger for sure, and bring in a young, innovative coach that gets this offense rolling, and bring in a good defensive coordinator, because as we've seen in the last few weeks, the Saints' defense is not what it was. It's definitely a shell of its former self.
That is all we have for today. Join us next week on All In, a production of CanSU TV and the Colonel Media Group. Once again, I'm Connor Jusclair.
And I'm Shamar Moses.